There's a lot that we don't talk about, sometimes due to embarrassment, fear, insecurities. We neglect discussions about the most common parts of our lives, things we all deal with, sometimes every day. But on the Caffeinated Gypsy podcast, together, we'll break all of those taboos and talk open and honest about shared experiences. Knowledgeable people relating things you felt but never put into words. Parenting, sex, fitness, energy, anything to connect you to your authentic self, unfiltered. Now, the Caffeinated Gypsy herself, a free spirit, world traveler with a passion for fitness and exploring topics that others might avoid. Hello and welcome to the Caffeinated Gypsy podcast. I'm Stephanie Cotton. We're on week 2 of the heart chakra. Finally. Sorry, y'all know I'm delayed on this stuff. I seriously have to be like in the right mindset for the chakra stuff. So I always want to make sure I'm really connected and I've been doing the work with it. So we're on week 2 now. Hopefully you guys are settling into all of this chakra work. I know I've gotten a lot of messages from people. If you are having trouble getting past the root or sacral chakra, I just want to reiterate, it's okay, it's normal. It's time consuming. Healing is hard, you guys. I wish I could honestly be like, in 4 weeks, you're going to be healed, but it doesn't always work that way. So continue to go through those lessons, continue on just exploring those spaces. So the activity for today is actually one that I think is really helpful if you're still dealing with some lower chakra issues. So on this week, we're talking about how we can start letting go of the things that we're holding. And so the journal activity this week was to write down old wounds. So I actually just did a podcast as well that I think goes hand in hand with this about cord cutting. And this is a very similar like ritual to like cutting a cord energetically, is we're writing down those wounds. So I want you to take some time and really check in with your heart chakra. This center, oh my goodness, guys, we carry so much on our chest. If you remember back to like that week 1, I talked about how we actually literally like roll our shoulders forward as a protective mechanism because we carry so much on our heart chakras. And especially those people that are just super sensitive. Oh, my Libras and my Cancers and my Pisces people, you guys, oh my goodness, so much on your heart. And it can be really difficult to let go of these things. So this week, your journal assignment is going to be to write down the wounds that you're carrying on your heart. So in order to unblock the chakra, we have to release. So anytime we're looking to bring more into our life, we have to let go of something. So if we want to bring love into our life, if we want to bring good people into our life, we have to let go of the stuff that's really holding us back. So if we want to open up our heart space, we have to let go of those things that are weighing down or literally blocking that area. So spend some time thinking about what you are carrying with you and write about it. I always think this is a really good activity to do after you've done the meditation for the week. And that can even be something that you do where you take that meditation a step further and you contemplate, like, what is really weighing on my heart? Most of the time we know, like, things come up. What I always find interesting about this is that the longer we sit with this and we start to write stuff down, other things start to come up. It's like we clear one thing out and we're like, oh yeah, that, and that. So it can be very therapeutic to just start writing all these things down. What past events or experiences aren't serving you? Like, what are you still carrying with you? Are you holding on to old relationships? Are you holding up onto like experiences from like school or jobs, or maybe people did things to you, betrayals, maybe, things in your childhood, like what's weighing on you? Now, by writing this stuff down and letting it go, it doesn't mean that we necessarily forget. It just means that we release that energy from us. So then we're able to bring in more energy, good energy, or an energy that actually serves us. So you're going to write everything down on a separate piece of paper. And then we're going to do one of my favorite releasing rituals. So this activity is actually called Let It Burn. And I use this for so many things, because I think there's just something so therapeutic about watching something burn. So you're going to write down all of these things that are holding you back. And this is very similar to what we did with the root chakra. Find a place where you can set like a little small fire. Be careful about doing it in your house. It will get very smoky, so you may need to go on the porch, or if you have a fire pit or a barbecue, this is a perfect place to do this. And then I want you to consciously think about burning each of those experiences. So I want you to look at it, I want you to read it, and I want you to set it on fire. And as that thing is burning, you are releasing that from your heart chakra. All right? So you are literally thinking about it burning away and melting all of that blockage around your heart. Okay? As you're doing this, I want you to imagine that your heart chakra is opening up and creating space for love. All right? Do this as many times as you need to. So just like I talked about in the cord cutting, sometimes we cut these things or we burn these things and they come back up. So if you burn an experience and it comes back up, re-burn it. Just do it again. Sometimes these things will come back up because maybe the other person thinks about us or they recall the situation and it reconnects that energetic tie to them. So it may be that you need to do this a couple times if you still feel it weighing on your heart. All right? I want to encourage you to take your time with this. Allow yourself to process. Sometimes I burn stuff and I cry like a little fucking baby because it's hard. Even though we want to let go of it, it's like a part of us is dying as we release these things, especially if these are wounds that have really created your identity. And so this is a hard one. I know, like for me, I had to burn a lot of stuff that was associated with like my trauma. And so for me, I've always said that I don't want like my trauma to be my identity. And so even though it definitely is played into who I am, because that's, it shaped me for sure because it happened at such a young age, I didn't want it to be my identity. So when I let go of that, it was like, because that was part of my identity, it was like part of my identity was dying. And so it's like a part of you that's dying as you release that, especially if it's something you've held with you for a really long time. And so as we've talked about in my past podcast with us being in this Pluto in retrograde, this is a time to start like literally letting these pieces of ourselves go. And this is a great way to do that. Releasing what you're holding on your heart chakra. So a good time to do this is with a full moon. Always a good time to release, but you can do it anytime. Anytime you feel like you need to release, just write these things down on a piece of paper, go let that shit burn, leave it. If you are doing this in some sort of like bowl or something, if you're able to, I encourage you to take those ashes and just bury them and give them back to the earth. And that's just a nice ritual to return everything to the earth and leave it that way. All right, you guys, I know this was a quick one today, but I think this is going to be a very powerful exercise for you. And if you do this, I would love to see you tag me on Instagram. Hashtag let it burn. Tag me. I love to see things burn. I love to see people release things. So if you do this and you want to share it with me, tag me, Caffeinated Gypsy. All right, y'all, have a great one. Until the next time.
For all the people who judge without knowing, just throw the peace on, tell them good vibes only.